Let me tell you about ProHealthConnect.com. It's transforming healthcare payments, providing retailers a seamless process for over-the-counter and healthy benefit programs. By connecting retailers, health plans, and payment processors, ProHealth Connect creates one powerful, unified network. They empower independent grocers and pharmacies to accept health benefit cards without changing how they do business. With over 10,000 locations nationwide, helping more than 1.3 million people access the care and nutrition they need. Go to ProHealthConnect.com.
Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
A lot is going on at this hour. Dominic Carter here with you folks. The number to reach us from coast to coast, 800-848, and we see your calls coming in right now, 848-9222. President Trump making his case to the nation on Iran, insisting that he's taking out the threat, that it's an investment in your children and your grandchildren's future. And I agree with that. Quoting President Trump, they were the bully of the Middle East, but they're the bully no longer. This is a true investment in your children and your grandchildren's future. Here in New York City, a family's nightmare that made national news. It's ongoing. A 7-month-old baby girl killed by a stray bullet hit in the stroller with her mom, a senseless New York City shooting, and the child, the infant, the baby just started saying the word mama. The heartbroken family revealing. And a shocking verdict reached in the shooting death of a New York City hero cop. Now, around the country, folks, his name was Jonathan Diller, and it's somewhat of an explosive verdict that was reached Wednesday night. Hero police officer, the jury acquitting the shooter of the top charge of first-degree murder, settling on manslaughter. We'll have more on that, and there is a lot going on. As I said, we're going to get to that 7-month-old baby. It is absolutely heartbreaking. In just a minute or two, let's begin with President Trump from his big speech just a short time ago.
I've made clear from the beginning of Operation Epic Fury that we will continue until our objectives are fully achieved. Thanks to the progress we've made, I can say tonight that we are on track to complete all of America's military objectives shortly, very shortly. We're going to hit them extremely hard over the next 2 to 3 weeks. We're going to bring them back to the Stone Ages where they belong. In the meantime, discussions are ongoing. Regime change was not our goal. We never said regime change, but regime change has occurred because of all of their original leaders' death. They're all dead. The new group is less radical and much more reasonable. Yet if during this period of time no deal is made, we have our eyes on key targets. If there is no deal, we are going to hit each and every one of their electric generating plants very hard and probably simultaneously. We have not hit their oil, even though that's the easiest target of all, because it would not give them even a small chance of survival or rebuilding. But we could hit it, and it would be gone, and there's not a thing they could do about it. They have no anti-aircraft equipment. Their radar is 100% annihilated. We are unstoppable as a military force. The nuclear sites that we obliterated with the B-2 bombers have been hit so hard that it would take months to get near the nuclear dust, and we have it under intense satellite surveillance and control. If we see them make a move, even a move for it, we'll hit them with missiles very hard again. We have all the cards. They have none.
President Trump doing a wonderful job making the case for the military action in Iran during his address to the nation a short time ago. We see your telephone calls. We'll be getting to them momentarily. 800-848-9222. Absolutely horrible situation here in the city of New York. And if you listen to the 3 p.m. Eastern time show that I do based out of New York, you know that we broke in with this news as soon as we had it. In Brooklyn, New York, a 7-month-old baby girl shot and killed. Stray bullets, police believe it's gang-related. 2 men on a moped open fire. When it's over, the 7-month-old baby in the stroller with her mom is shot. The mother heard the gunshot, runs into a bodega to be safe, and it's there where she notices the blood from her baby. The father runs with the child to the hospital, but it was too late. And it's such a big tragic story that it made CBS News National tonight. Here is how they reported the story.
We turn now to a daytime shooting that killed a 7-month-old baby in New York City. A stray bullet hit an infant, according to police. Mayor Zohran Mamdani saying, quote, "We cannot accept this as normal in our city." CBS News investigative correspondent Tom Hansen has more.
Tony, good evening to you. Well, NYPD says they are using bloodhounds to try to find one of the suspects who was driving the scooter they believe was involved in the shooting that killed that baby girl. This is a developing story, but here's what we know so far. This surveillance image captures the moment a gunman riding on the back of a scooter in Brooklyn, New York, fired 2 shots, killing a 7-month-old baby who was being pushed in a stroller around 1:15 this afternoon. Now, after hearing the gunshots, police say the child's mother ducked into a nearby bodega where she noticed the little girl bleeding. The little girl's father rushed the child to an area hospital where she was pronounced dead. Officials say the suspect on the back of the scooter is believed to be in police custody. The driver is still on the run.
At this time, this shooting is believed to be gang motivated, with the victim being an unintended target, and no gun has yet been recovered.
And Tony, this investigation still very much ongoing. The NYPD also calling on the public to give them any help they can, Tony.
Really tough story tonight, Tom. Thank you very much.
Indeed, a very tough story. 800-848-9222. And a shocker also here in New York. We lost a hero police officer a few short years ago. And his name, Jonathan Diller, and his wife, of course, was in the courtroom. The jury tonight acquitting the shooter, is Savage, of the top charge of first-degree murder and settling on manslaughter. So the 36-year-old suspect, Guy Rivera, fatally shot the officer and married dad outside a cell phone store in Queens. This happened 2 years ago. He was convicted on all of the lesser charges, including aggravated manslaughter, attempted murder of Diller's partner, and weapons charges. And so how this individual's not convicted of first-degree murder, I'll never know. But one thing I can tell you, though, as it relates to judges around the country, one thing that's happening, and I think it's definitely a step in the right direction, in Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis is moving to get rid of a radical leftist judge. He's trying to get this judge, get her impeached after she released a known predator who went on to kill an innocent 5-year-old girl. This is Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida.
I appreciate the legislature for passing this, but I will just say to my friends in the Florida House of Representatives, I don't think what you've done is enough. You have the power and you have sufficient numbers in your chamber to impeach this judge, Tiffany Baker. Until you start holding these judges accountable, they are going to continue to find ways to benefit the criminal element. This was an outrage. This was such an easy call to make sure that this guy was put behind bars. And this judge refused to do it, knowing the risks, and the result has obviously been a tragedy. So Florida Constitution vests the House of Representatives with the ability to bring an impeachment against a circuit judge with 2/3 majority. You know, last time I checked, we've got way more than 2/3 of Republicans. Honestly, I think some Democrats would vote to impeach, given what happened in this case.
And so at the end of the day, this soft on crime stuff has to stop, from regular crime to crime being committed by illegals. And what comes to mind is Chicago, Illinois, in which you have an angel father, Joe Abraham. He appeared on Fox News, and he's going after Democrat governor there, J.B. Pritzker, over his pro-migrant policies, frankly, that are killing American citizens.
Absolutely avoidable. And Trey, you're 100% right on. These are these illegal immigrants that, you know, our governor, J.B. Pritzker, stands behind, regardless of the situation, is something that really can't be explained. It's very incoherent. Like, you look at the situation with the Loyola University woman. Now he's up on front of the TV and he's talking about how, well, ICE and Donald Trump didn't do their job here, getting the worst of the worst. Meanwhile, is he trying to say that he wants Gestapo and jackbooted thugs, as he called them, back into a city because they didn't get the job done the first time around? It's so incoherent, and he is a person that will never stand behind his policies. He deflects, he deceives, and he is never going to tell the truth to the Illinois voters. Never.
And it certainly appears to be that way. Let's begin with your telephone calls. A lot going on at this hour. 800-848-9222. Line 3, John, Reno, Nevada. John, what's on your mind?
Dominic, it was a great speech tonight by Trump. You know, he was short, only a half hour long. But what he did was this. He framed the case that this is an investment in our children and the world's children's future. And that's exactly what our action has been. Since I was 5 years old, Iran has been a pariah nation. There's the wars with Iraq. There was the kidnappings. There is Syria. There is the poisoning of immigrants throughout Europe. They have done nothing but cause trouble in my lifetime. The world will be a much, much better place with this regime removed. And he's very skillfully leaving the oil fields so the Saudis don't have to pay as much to rebuild Iran when we pull out. But we're going to have a new regime, and the world is going to be a much brighter place. And we have to thank Trump for this. It was a very good idea.
Yeah, you know what, John, with that Trump derangement syndrome, you can't listen to what Democrats are saying. The president should be thanked. He is looking out for our children, for our future, and for our grandchildren's future. And how noble an idea. A president that cares about the American people. Thank you for the call, John, from Nevada and from Reno. And we are going to take a break. We have a lot this hour. I'm still locked on this 7-month-old baby, Brooklyn, New York, shot and dead. This baby, just learning to say mama, is in the morgue as we speak. Time for a break. We are coming right back.
The Dominic Carter Show
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Listen to this podcast now
On the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Leadership Thread with Dr. Peggy Polonis.
I'm Dr. Peggy Polonis. Join me on each episode where I unravel the story that shaped leaders, tracing the thread that led them where they are today. Because leadership isn't born in adulthood. And thank you once again for joining us on the Leadership Thread, education, ethics, and sustainability.
Download all of Red Apple Media's podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform. Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
And back to the phones we go. Line 3, William in the Bronx. William, what's on your mind?
Hey, man, do you know what that little girl's name was? That was atrocious. Did you find out what her name was?
I don't know what her name is, but what? Why is that a big point for you right now?
Because you made a point of saying whatever you want to call her, like she had something to do with her own demise.
Wait.
You said whatever you want to call her.
Wait a minute. I made this our second lead story after the President of the United States. I broke in earlier today of our show with news coverage of this. What are you talking about?
You didn't say what I just said, whatever you want to call her?
Honestly, I don't recall. Sir, is that all you got? The black community, you got black people killing each other, and that's all you got? That's the best you got to waste my time like this? Is that the best you got?
For her. That's disrespect of a dead person. You're going to burn in hell.
Sir, I wish I could say to you what I really would like to say to you. If you were in front of me, what I would say to you. But I'm a professional, and I can't do it. So do me a favor and don't call back again. Crawl back in the hole, whatever you just crawl. I knew it was a mistake the moment I heard your voice. I broke in our coverage of the 3 o'clock show earlier today with breaking news coverage to focus on this 7-month-old child. And the best you got is to call me up and ask me what her name is on a night when the President of the United States is speaking. A decision comes back in a trial for a cop killer, and that's all you've got to focus on amongst the things that we're talking about. But you know what? It's my fault because many of you warned me that it's a full moon and the nuts are out. Because that was a straight up nut. Let's go to line 3, Steve in Elmont. Steve, what's on your mind?
Yeah, hi, Dominic. I wanted to comment about the 7-month-old that was murdered. Most likely, definitely, it was gang because these guys watch too much King of New York and New Jack City. That's one of the moves from that. But the sad thing about it is that on the street, unfortunately, while they're rolling out this little tiny casket, people are still going to be worrying more about Chile donating towards MAGA than a 7-month-old dying right in their neighborhoods. That's just, unfortunately, the way things go.
So, Steve, how many children have to die until we start to take this seriously, to understand that we've got to do something with not all, but some, with these out of control, reckless young people, when the fact of the matter is babies having babies, the mamas should have never had them. The mamas don't know nothing themselves. How do we, because to be honest with you, Steve, people that live in the suburbs, they go, see, that's why we don't live with them in urban areas. This is exactly why we don't live with them, because of what they do to each other. So how and when do we stop this?
Well, I'm gonna say one thing. One, who's supposed to stop it? And two, most likely, I'm surprised the mother was there because the mothers most likely look like those chicks that was just getting arrested at the airport. That's the sisters and the girlfriends of those guys on the motorcycle. That's like a whole tag team with them. Who's supposed to stop it? Who? Whoever's going to stop it isn't brave enough to stand up. They can't.
Steve, thank you. Thank you for the great call. I've got to take a break. We are coming right back.
The Dominic Carter Show
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
A number of stories we are following at this hour. We see all your telephone calls. We're going to get to as many as we can momentarily. Again, President Trump making his case to the nation on Iran and doing a wonderful job, short and sweet, to the point, about 30 minutes tonight, speaking to America, insisting that taking out the threat is an investment in all of us. That, quote, they were the bully of the Middle East, but now they're the bully no longer. Quoting the president again, this is a true investment in your children and your grandchildren's future. A family's nightmare here in the city of New York, a 7-month-old baby girl killed by a stray bullet, a senseless shooting in Brooklyn, New York. This from one of the local TV stations, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
A life that had barely begun was taken in an instant. As we grieve this loss, I am grateful for the NYPD's continued work to find all those responsible for this murder.
The mayor and police commissioner Jessica Tisch tonight promising swift justice after a 7-month-old baby girl was shot in the head and killed in East Williamsburg. Police say the gunman and accomplice could be seen on this moped opening fire at Humboldt and Moore Streets around 1:20 this afternoon, sending community members scrambling for cover.
It was just a scary situation to see a baby like that, lifeless, bleeding from his head.
This eyewitness says the baby's mother was pushing the infant in a stroller and tried to escape the gunshots by running into this deli. Her screams could be heard from outside as she realized her child had been hit in what police are calling a gang-related shooting. The father ran to nearby Woodhull Hospital with the baby, an innocent bystander, but despite every effort, police say doctors could not save her.
I don't know where these guns coming from. And them mostly kids doing it, teenagers.
About a mile away, police tracked the moped to 50 Warsaw Place. Investigators say 2 men on a moped crashed at Manhattan Avenue and Siegel Street, where a man fitting the description of the triggerman was injured and taken to the hospital.
The male is now in custody on an unrelated investigation, and detectives are working to determine his possible involvement in this shooting incident. The outstanding suspect is still being sought. Right now, he is the subject of a massive NYPD manhunt.
An absolute horrible situation. Let's go back to your telephone calls. Line 3, Kurt in New Jersey. Kurt, good morning. What's on your mind?
Yeah, hello, Dominic. Glad to hear your voice. I've heard you a number of times through the years, and you always seem to be a person of reason, a person of justice, and fair, regardless of political opinions. Point is, none other calls with these journalists, female journalists that we've had in one in captured in or taken hostage in Iraq. There was another one from Princeton that was taken about a year ago, and they had to fight back to get it. The power of the United States, everything that goes on, the lawlessness is a condition of we get what we accept. If we accept judges to allow murders to go on of people not prosecuted, or the prosecutors not fulfilling justice, we wind up in a situation where we get what we accept. If I worked in Africa and the Middle East years ago in the 70s, and as time went on into the 80s, the attitude towards Americans and the hostility towards Americans would just increase by our weakness and our acceptance of a weak federal government and weak presidencies and a weakened military during that time. And what President Trump is trying to do is gain our own self-respect back, besides the respect of the world and the nation.
And he's well on his way to achieving that goal. Kurt, before I let you go, how are we as a country in a situation, and this could be in any city, any state which we're being listened to in right now, how can we be in a situation in 2026, a mother pushing her baby girl in a stroller, the baby is hit in the head with a stray bullet from some savage that the mother should have never even had the child? How do we end up in a situation like this? Meaning, when I say the mother should have never had the child, I'm talking about the shooter.
Okay. So the shooter, and what happens is, I don't know the situation behind the shooter, but what happens is when people go in, they get arrested. And then they get arrested again, and then released, and it goes on. And every time you read about one of these horrible incidents, it's some guy, some perpetrator that went in, and he's had 22. He's got a record that's 22 pages long, and incarcerated, let go, incarcerated, let go, incarcerated, let go. And because if you don't know how to lock up these people and actually keep them in jail, and we keep on releasing them, that's how that happens. Now, regardless of that, again, the rules that you can go into a store and just rob anything and everybody walks away. Theft is anything under $900 isn't theft.
Right.
We start bending ourselves that way. We get lawlessness. Do you drive on the opposite side of the road when you get on the road, Dominic? No, because it's a danger. The kind of things that you see wouldn't be accepted in any civilized society, but we are allowing it to happen. That's how it happens.
Well, Kurt, thank you very much for the great telephone call. I'm thinking about the father. He can see his little girl is wounded, and he's running. He takes the baby from the mother, and he's running to the hospital. But the baby's shot in the head, and the child, unfortunately, didn't make it. And that's right here in New York City, Brooklyn, New York, tonight. It happened in broad daylight earlier today. Dominic Carter here with you, folks. Let me switch gears for a moment. So, Matt Blaze and I'm going to bring him in now. We spoke yesterday about the three women at the Miami airport. They don't want to pay the baggage fee. They storm onto the plane. They don't want to get off the plane. Everybody's got to leave the plane. They end up getting arrested, right? So, I have the ability to listen, as you all do as well, to different radio stations in different markets and so on. So I want you folks to listen. Just bear with me for a minute here, and then I'm going to bring Matt Blaze in. Then I'm going to get your telephone calls. This is how an African-American radio station in Philadelphia, it's called Hot 1079. Actually, it's an Atlanta radio station, but I thought it was a Philly station. This is how they talked about it. I want you to listen how obviously they're trying to entertain you, but they're stepping around the issue in a nice way of the three women being women of color. And again, this is from a predominantly black station. Listen to this, folks.
In Miami, three Philadelphia women had somewhat of a situation, and I was like, all right, well, maybe it's not as bad as it seemed. Let's check in on a report real quick. Like, what airline was it?
Three women were arrested at Miami International Airport for refusing to leave a Frontier flight.
Oh, hell. Well, we start. Okay,
Frontier ain't that bad.
You know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe it wasn't that bad.
No.
Just a small dispute. Like, what could this really be over?
Yeah. During a dispute over an unpaid carry-on bag.
Oh.
So they didn't want to pay for the carry-on bag? You know on Frontier, you got to pay for
We
your
know
bags.
Spirit and Frontier don't play that when it comes to the carry-on.
The only thing about this, right, when I'm thinking about the story, like, who's getting upset about that? We know, our people know. You go on Frontier, you got to pay for the bag, so it couldn't have been our people.
Authorities say Defasha Dockery, Deojana Cochran, and Devana Cochran.
They're white. They're white.
I know Devasha.
Yeah. I know a white girl named Devasha.
You don't know the white
Yes,
girl.
I do. Yes, I do.
Oh, my
Her
God.
daddy half black, though, but she white.
I still feel like they're exaggerating the story a little bit. I know they had a little dispute, but I'm sure they got off that plane peacefully.
Deputies say one woman spit on another passenger as they finally exited.
You know what? Throw the whole story out the window. I can't believe this. My Philly people acting up in Miami at the airport. They got arrested. Once they were removed from the jetway, a brief struggle ensued, they said. They said Dockery escalated the situation by spitting on a Frontier employee. Now all three women are booked in the Turner Guilford Knight Correctional Facility on charges of trespassing and resisting arrest, with Dockery facing an additional battery charge for the spit. Oh, my God.
At least they're safe.
Are they?
Yeah, because, I mean, ain't nobody messing with them.
Lord Jesus.
Oh, my
Hey,
God.
them bags can get you mad, though. I ain't going to lie to you when you go to the gate.
Some jokes get you mad, especially if you feel like your bag fit. You be trying to push it down. It's a fit.
But how
It's
far do you
$100.
take it, right? They told them they had to pay for these bags. They pushed past the gate agents and went and took their seats
That's
and
too
sat
far.
down and refused to get off
That's
the plane.
too far. Now, me, I put on like 3 jackets and something around my waist, but I ain't about to run past
You got to
them.
make them feel scared. I messed this whole place up.
They held up the flight for an hour.
So, Matt Blaze, they were trying to have some fun. That's a predominantly African-American station, right? Now, they are dancing around the issue while having fun, just like you and I were dancing around the issue last night here. What do you have to say?
Oh, obviously they were having fun with it when they said the names. And the girl
just like I said,
and the
who
girl
names
said,
their child those names?
And the girl said, "Oh, they're white." No, I know white girl. But admitting that it's just you can't do that. I mean, they were even saying it like they know you can't. There's that little size basket that you put your carry-on in, and if it doesn't fit, they're going to tell you got to pay. And I've seen videos like online on like YouTube of people taking their stuff and putting it in a garbage bag, and then so the garbage bag will fit in that little cubby or that little basket so it fits in, because they'll take their suitcase and they'll throw it away, and they'll just take all their stuff and put it in a garbage bag so it can fit overhead, because they don't want to pay. They'd rather do that. They'd rather throw their suitcase away that they paid for than pay the baggage fees.
But you see, so we were having fun with this, but in all seriousness, I make a connection that when you look at that type of dysfunction that happened at the Miami airport with these 3 brain surgeons, you put it all together, and it's what's wrong in society. And it's what leads to what happened in Brooklyn with this 7-month-old baby shot and killed in the head. Because too many people are making excuses, mostly Democrats, for this type of behavior. We'll let you have the final word before we go on to the next call.
Yeah, if they're willing to act up like that at the airport, where this is federal, you're getting charged federally for these federal crimes when it comes to the airport. And if they're willing to do that and act up at an airport, what do you think they're doing on the street? What are they doing in every day in your neighborhood? The disrespect. If they're willing to do this to airline and airline employees, what are they doing to the local shop owner?
Right. I'll just say this, a point I made earlier, Blaze. Can you imagine, news anchors sometimes, and I speak from experience, you don't get a chance to look at the copy. Sometimes you're reading the copy hot, of what a writer put, and you're reading it from the teleprompter. You're live on television. Can you imagine these anchors from the Midwest, from any market in the Midwest? They haven't interacted with many people of color, and they've got to read that story live with those names. Can you imagine how those anchors are tortured on live TV? Can you imagine that situation? Why are you turning beat red?
It's got to be spelled out phonetically. That's the only way. And I always say, listen, as being here and being on the radio, and even as a DJ, and I'd ask somebody their name or even their last name, and I'd say, "What's your name?" And they'd say it to me, and they start spelling it out. And I go, no. I don't need you to spell it for me, because I will spell it in the way that I know how to say it. It doesn't matter how you actually spell it. And I say the same thing here all the time. It doesn't matter what we put on the paper, as long as whoever can read it and say it correctly. That's all that matters.
Right. So again, I'll repeat, anchors from the Midwest that grew up, not much experience of dealing with people with color, and you haven't even had a chance to look at the story, and you're reading it from the teleprompter, and you've got those 3 names.
Well, you mean that's not a popular name in Lima, Ohio?
Makes you want to leave journalism having to read that story. Folks, we see all your calls. What I've got to do right now is take a break. When we come back, the show belongs to you. One call after another until the time runs out, unless one of you goes on forever. We are coming right back.
The Dominic Carter Show
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Tap the banner to learn more and get a quote at USAA.com/bundle. Restrictions apply.
It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But here's a big one you need to hear. Billions. That's the amount of money in refunds the IRS has flagged for possible identity fraud. Now here's another big number, 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. One last big number, save up to 40% your first year. Visit lifelock.com/podcast for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.
Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
Back to the phones we go. Line 5, Dan in Ohio. Dan, what's on your mind?
Thank you, Dominic. The mayor of New York City should have said, this is the last straw. I'm going to call President Trump and ask him to bring in the National Guard and the ICE to protect and help my dear folks of New York City.
Mom Donnie would rather shut the entire city down than ask President Trump, forget the National Guard, forget ICE, to even ask for additional police. Dan, you're making too much sense. This mayor, he's a socialist, and that would never happen because it runs counter to his base. He doesn't like police to begin with. Doesn't like Israel, neither does his wife. That's not going to happen. Thank you so much for the great call here. Let's go to Mel in Saratoga Springs, New York. Line 2, Mel, welcome to the Dominic Carter Show. What's going on?
Well, Dominic, in regards to the shooting of the child, this is all a result of the deliberate breakdown of the family. What party has had a monopoly on control in New York State? I believe it has been the Democrat Party. Well, we'll look at what Lyndon Baines Johnson had implemented with his new society movement, or to implement that. New York State, especially, even in New York City, we'll say, the 5 boroughs, Brooklyn, Staten Island, the Bronx. That was, even though it was inner city, there was manufacturing that was a part of those boroughs. Those people, the families will have the father. Well, go back to Lyndon Baines Johnson. Get the father out of the house. Without a man figure, a father figure in those homes, and that father had a place to go each day to earn an honest living, to be able to raise a family, pay his taxes, own a home. And it was the black community and the Hispanic community that had to be slaves to the welfare system. And by that, they had to get out of the house for the mother to be able to get that free money to raise a family, because what was implemented, as I mentioned, about LBJ. And that carried over into the states, the blue states, and especially like in New York. Well, without that father figure in that home to have authority over his family and bring them up respectively, because he was able to raise them on a one paycheck family, it has caused this mayhem where there's no control over the youth, because that father figure was gone and replaced by a welfare check, and now the children are out running wild, and like you say, babies having babies. But that's where I believe all of this mayhem has started.
So how do we fix it? How do we fix it, Mel? How do we fix it?
Well, you have to. Well, you can't say you're going to fix it at the ballot box, because those machines that we use today are programmed to flip votes in favor of one party over another, over common sense and a message that brings.
Okay, so we're running short on time. How do we fix it?
How do we fix it? Well, we have to go back to a system where there's one day voting, okay, and there's no.
I'm not talking about voting right now. How do we fix the problem with the family structure? Let's talk about what's important right now.
To lower taxes to business, to attract them back into the state and put people back on those jobs and be able to have self-worth and to be able to earn.
Okay, but wait a minute,
living.
Mel. If you have a successful business, why would you come into Brooklyn, into these communities where shootings like this are happening? Why would you risk your life and your family's life?
Right, I agree. Why would you? It's going to take a long time to correct this problem, to correct what I'm trying to say, to the self-respect back into these communities. I mean, it's going to take a long time, but you have to get that party who's driving that business, driving that atmosphere deliberately out of the of the family, out of the communities.
Right, I hear you, Mel. Thank you very much for the call. This is why Giuliani was such a great mayor for New York City. No nonsense. That's what we have to get back to. We'll have the very latest on this 7-month-old baby later on today. I'm back at 3 p.m. Eastern.
Thanks for listening to The Dominic Carter Show. You can hear The Dominic Carter Show weekdays at 3 p.m. and Monday through Thursday at midnight and Sunday starting at 11 p.m. on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Let Century Management Solutions get you to your next medical appointment. They specialize in non-emergency medical transportation, connecting patients to care, safety, reliability, and on time. Their advanced technology platform seamlessly coordinates patients, healthcare providers, insurers, and transportation partners all in one powerful network. With over 200 trusted transportation providers, they deliver scalable solutions backed by real-time tracking and complete transparency. Go to SENTRYMS.com.